I believe that the genders exist primarily to reflect motherhood and fatherhood. Like they're all a the reason why male and female is so critical in scripture is because maleness is fatherliness and and femaleness is motherliness, right? And so when you're looking at a 5-year-old and you're saying you need to, grow up and become a man, here are some characteristics of masculinity. What you're going to do is describe for him an ideal father. These are things that a father should learn to do. When you lead a family, you need to become a man, and becoming a man means to be fatherly. And here's what it looks like to be fatherly. And so this attack on gender is an attack on family and father and mother. That's why when recently one of the publishers took Roald Dahl's books and tried to extract, mother and father. They said, we're going to get rid of the 10 most offensive words. And two of those were mother and father and just try to replace that with parent. And one of the things that I didn't know, I had a conversation with Rabbi Lapin. He mentioned this. I don't know if it was in our conversation or another time. I think it was in our conversation. He said the word parent does not exist
Oh,
in Hebrew in the Old Testament. That's why it doesn't say honor your parents in the 10 commandments. It says honor your father and mother. So essentially there is no such thing as
yes.
parenting in the Bible. There's only fathering and mothering. And so
Yes.
what we're saying to these gay men who are um, taking this child is that it's not that they're going to just parent the child. It's that that child will never have the experience of being mothered. Yeah,
Yeah.
there is no it's the whole experience of motherhood or being mothered is a basic part of what kind of creates the experience of a young child, and they're fathered and they're mothered. And so I think that and that women have a very they're built really from the ground up in their DNA biologically. Every part of them is designed for motherhood, and men are designed for fatherhood. And I
Yeah.
think that we've said, look, yeah, that all exists and that's critical and that's what creates the most healthy children. But there might be an individual who might not want in their freedom to play the role of father, even though they might be built for it, in their DNA and in their biology. Or there might be a woman who might not want to play the role of mother. And so this is the primary lens through which we're seeing fatherhood and motherhood as sort of an identity choice. And it's not really an identity choice. It's something that you're built for, and that as soon as you have a child, for the sake of the child, you choose that. For the sake
Yeah.
of loving that child. Like there's a lot of elements of fatherhood that felt very um, difficult for me to embrace. And the more I
Mhm.
studied fatherhood, I'm like, okay, here's one that I feel is very natural for me. Here's one that for whatever reason I'm really struggling with. And I'm like looking at my children in the eyes and I'm like, I love them and I want them to have the experience of fatherhood to the best of my ability. And so I'm going to
Mhm.
sacrifice my personal freedom as an individual to try to express myself in a hyper individualistic way. And I'm going to try to adopt elements of fatherhood that otherwise to me would feel a little bit less natural or less obvious, less attractive to me or whatever. And I'm going to attempt to live those out for your sake. This is not about me. And this is why I love Faust's book, Them Before Us. The whole idea, and this is the real beauty of having children, is that it suddenly forces you to think about somebody else, right?
Yeah.
Above yourself. And this is the primary way you do that. You adopt an identity as a mother, all the parts that feel really good and natural and normal and comfortable to you, and the parts that don't, right? And
Yeah.
then the father does the same thing, and you agree together that we're going to become fathers and mothers. We're going to lean into this role as hard as we can. There's lots of things that are happening biologically to us as that child is born and brought into the world. The mother is there's all kinds of hormones going off and things that are helping her like move her in the direction of really the design of motherhood that is really ultimately best for a child. There's even, hormonal things happening inside of a father that occur when that baby's born that help move him in the direction of fatherhood. And what we experience often for the first time in our lives is the feeling of the desire to put someone above ourselves, to say, I ultimately want to sacrifice my life for this child. And that is a spiritual experience, right? And so I'm looking at these two men and I'm like, who's having that experience right now where you almost smother the baby? Like it's actually the exact opposite of that experience. You are saying in that moment, our needs are more important. You're
Yes.
declaring that over this whole situation, over that baby. What really matters is our needs. And so this baby, I know you're 4 days old and you're crying for your mother. You're going to cry for your mother for months. You're going to have to shut up and you're going to have to put up with the fact that we have needs as gay men, and we need you to meet our needs. That is
Yeah.
the opposite of what fatherhood is. That's the opposite of what motherhood is. That's the opposite of what God designed family to be.